Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Darlington Raceway. And in the process of getting ready for this one, a slightly earlier start time, trying to beat out some local rain showers. And we are not too far away from the drop of the green flag for today's race. Lights are still on the pace car, but they will be going green within the next couple of minutes. So let's hurry up and fire off the starting lineup for the sixth race of the season in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Again, Darlington Raceway here this afternoon. Starting on the pole, Kyle Larson in the 88 car trying to go for two consecutive series wins. He won at Las Vegas in his first attempt in the O'Reilly Series last week, and Christopher Bell, doing triple duty this weekend, will be starting in the second place position on the front row. In row 2 will be Carson Kvapil and Justin Allgaier. Row 3, a good qualifying effort for Parker Retzlaff alongside Haas's Sam Mayer. William Sawalage, Brandon Jones, the JGR teammates in row 4, and then another Cup regular on the inside of row 5, Ross Chastain, also doing triple duty this weekend alongside Jesse Love, defending series champion. In row 6 will be Austin Hill and rookie Corey Day. In row 7, Sheldon Creed, Harrison Burton, Taylor Gray, Kyle Sieg in row 8, Josh Williams, Sammy Smith in row 9, row 10, Roger Cruth in the 32 for Jordan Anderson Racing and JJ Yaley. Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Sieg in row 11, row 12, Brendan Poole and Garrett Smithley, row 13, Jeb Burton, Blaine Perkins, Nick Sanchez, Patrick Star-Poli in row 14, LeVar Scott, Jeremy Clements, row 15. Row 16, Austin Green, Josh Balicki, Dean Thompson, Alex LeBay behind them in row 17, and rounding out the field in rows 18 and 19, Myatt Snyder, Ryan Ellis, row 18, row 19, Joey Gase and Nathan Bird. That is your starting lineup for today's race. We usually have more of a pre-race, but again, they did move the start time up about 10 minutes, so we are live just in time for the start of the race, and we are about to go green. Our scheduled distance today will be 147 laps, 200 miles, our same distance as the Truck Series race last night. Should be a little quicker because the cars are a bit quicker in the O'Reilly Series, plus it's going to depend on how many cautions we'll see. We had quite a few in that truck race last night, including 2 overtimes. Kyle Larson going to attempt to restart on the inside of row number 1. That was the preferred line through much of the truck race last night. I'm sure that will be the same for the O'Reilly and Cup races this weekend still as well. Should be a fun one. This has been one of the better races on the schedule in recent years. The Darlington race for the O'Reilly Series is underway. Green flag in the air as Kyle Larson tries to go for back-to-back wins. Great initial launch on the start as he has Christopher Bell well beat into the first turn, and he's got about a 2 to 3 car length advantage by the exit of turn 2 as they exit off the corner. Bell's going to win the race for second up on the high side and carry a huge bit of momentum down the back straightaway. Carson Kvapil swinging out of line, along with Justin Allgaier, the Junior Motorsport teammates, going at it for third on the opening lap of the race. And at the end of lap 1, it'll be the pole sitter Kyle Larson out ahead by 0.7 of a second. So Larson leads lap 1. He qualified 4th for the Cup race earlier this afternoon. And for this O'Reilly Series race, we have not seen him in an O'Reilly car at Darlington in a couple of years, but he is a former winner in those recent years of running this very race. Usually runs the fall race at Darlington rather than the spring race, but in the spring race this go around. And it's going to be a fun watch. To see Kyle Larson go head-to-head with Christopher Bell in this series is going to be a lot of fun. If you watch a lot of dirt racing in the High Limit or World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series where you got Bell and Larson racing on a semi-regular basis, you're going to see a lot of slide jobs, I'm sure, here today as well around this very treacherous racetrack. Very low grip, more low grip today than what we would have saw at the trucks last night. These O'Reilly cars have a lot less downforce, and with the sun out, higher track temperature is going to lead for an ultimately slicker racetrack. Tough to race the racetrack itself in Darlington, let alone to race other drivers, and it is named the track too tough to tame for a reason. Already a 1.1 second lead for Larson at the end of the 4th lap as he has led them all from the pole. Christopher Bell still is second. Carson Kvapil 2.2 seconds back in 3rd. Justin Allgaier 2.4 seconds out of the lead in 4th. And Sam Mayer rounding out the top 5 at 3 seconds out of the lead in 5th. Our stage splits today, 45, 45, and 57 for the stage splits. Again, 147 laps and 200 miles. Half the distance of the Cup race. That will be 400 miles tomorrow afternoon. Shout out to those of you watching in the stream: Austin Sullivan, Robert Goodrich, Bam Hall, Connor Burke, welcome in. Steve J, Terry Lewis, Bond 1771 as well, welcome to the stream. AJF and many others that were waiting in the pre-race. 24 votes have been casted already for who you think is going to win today's race. Kyle Larson dominating that chat poll at 46%. That will close at the end of stage 2. 17% of you taking Christopher Bell, 4% with Ross Chastain in the 9 for Junior Motorsports, and 33% have somebody other than Larson, Bell, or Chastain for the win. Again, very early in the voting poll, so we'll see how that's going to change throughout the course of the stream and this race today. Larson definitely the quickest, at least on the short run. We're going to have to see who's going to have the best long run speed because tire degradation, again, very big here at Darlington. 7 laps into the race, and Kyle Larson's fastest lap on the second lap of a 30.568 was already 0.8 of a second faster than the most recent lap he just put down. Now at the end of lap number 8 of 31.728, that last time at the line by Larson, will time in 1.2 seconds slower than his fastest lap of the race. Truck Series last night, after about 20 green flag consecutive laps, had about 2.5 second difference of fall off. And we're going to see more series by series as the horsepower increases slightly. All the way up to 750 for those Cup cars tomorrow afternoon, and they had a handful in practice a couple hours ago. Larson did set the fastest lap in the early going of the race, so that would take a potential bonus point away from any of the O'Reilly Series regulars if that lap time holds. Fastest lap of the race last night in the truck race was set on lap 2 in the early going as well by the then pole sitter Ben Rhodes. Or sorry, not Ben Rhodes, Caden Honeycutt. Rhodes started in second. Battle for position on screen between Brandon Jones for 6th place and Parker Retzlaff, who's off to a great start in this one. Qualified 6th. Don't see Viking Motorsports up in the top 10 early, but good start. We'll see if he can hold on for the long haul. Larson already dominating, 2.3 seconds ahead of Bell. I wonder if he's just trying to push the pace early and then try to build out enough of a lead that when Bell's trying to run him down on the long run, he's not going to have enough time to get there. Could be a strategy tactic. Already more consecutive green flag laps today than we had in the truck event last night. We had 2 cautions in the first 15 laps of that race. Quite the start-stop event. Finishing just under 2 hours. This one stays green here today. It'll be done in less than 90 minutes. This is one of the shorter O'Reilly Series races of the season. You don't see too many race lengths where they have the same exact race length to that of the Truck Series, especially when racing on the same weekend. NASCAR's first super speedway. Yeah, hard to believe that they consider this a super speedway back in the 50s, but it is maybe not the case now, but it's still a fast racetrack. I mean, these Cup cars early in the run going over 170 miles per hour into turn 3 for a 1/3 mile tight oval with very low grip like this. Old asphalt, which was last repaved back in 2007. It has been some time, 19 years on this surface. Well sanded from the Carolinas as well. Tends to create some marble effect when you're out of line, especially too far down low on the apron. You're going to see a lot of drivers trying to take control of that apron, especially in turns 1 and 2, diamonding the corner off. Several different ways to make a fast lap around this racetrack on both ends, but going to see them diamond off turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You're going to see them up near the wall by the end of the run as the tires start to fade, and they look for that little extra side force on the race car, getting as close to the wall as possible for more grip. Transition from the exit of the corner with that transition of the banking through the middle as well. Equates to more straightaway speed if you're running towards the top of the track versus the lower banking on the bottom, and obviously even less down on the apron where we will see cars again run throughout the course of the evening. 3.2 second lead for Larson, 14 laps in. He is looking bad fast in the early laps. As Larson leads, Christopher Bell is in second, Carson Kvapil third, Justin Allgaier fourth, and Sam Mayer still rounding out the top 5. Those top 5 positions have not changed in the first 15 laps of the race. So no lead changes so far. We're still caution-free. 30 laps to go in stage 1 of this race. Yeah, the minnow pond in turns 3 and 4. That's why it's narrow. And also when this track was first built, the now 3 and 4 was actually turns 1 and 2. And what we now know of the back straightaway used to be the front stretch, and they had grandstands back there for the longest time in doing so. Now everything flipped out to the front stretch and the wider sweeping corner of turns 1 and 2 versus the more tighter angled corner in 3 and 4 that we know of today is completely flipped. Austin Fuller, thanks for tuning in. As long as JRM wins, I'm happy. Well, you got a good shot at that with Kyle Larson in the race, and the rest of the JRM Chevys not slouch here at this racetrack. Justin Allgaier is a 3-time O'Reilly Series winner at Darlington, including 2 springs ago. Carson Kvapil sitting in 3rd, still looking for his first career win, but off to a great start today. And also Ross Chastain, another Cup regular, riding in the number 9 car for Junior Motorsports this afternoon. Corey Day for Hendrick in the number 17, coming off of a couple straight top 10s on ovals at Phoenix and Vegas out west, looking to keep that momentum riding high. He seems to kind of start off medium on the pacing, and then by the end of the race, he's flirting with a top 5. Even led some laps back at Vegas last week, I should say specifically. Feels like it was a couple weeks ago already. It was not. Larson's still faster that last lap and fall off of over 2 seconds in the first 18 laps of this race. Many adjustments are going to be made with pit stops today. You wonder if Kyle Larson is going to be this dominant in the stages going forward. Obviously with the veteran like Christopher Bell and even series veterans like Justin Allgaier and another Cup car of Ross Chastain in the field who ran great in the truck race last night, was leading late in the race. If they have an opportunity to dial in their race cars with every pit stop we're going to see today, that's just closer and closer. I think they can get to that 88 car by the end. Starting in the evening hours, we should be finished before dark tonight, so I don't think the track's going to go through a whole lot of changes compared to maybe in the fall race, say for the Southern 500 that usually starts in the day and finishes in the night. Track temps will cool off a bit into the evening, but not completely, as we're not going to completely lose sunlight by the end, especially if we have a rapid pace like we have out of the get-go, already 19 laps in to a 147-lap race, and we're just under 11 minutes. Frederico Sanchez, thanks for tuning in. Grueling track. Yes, it is. Very grueling. Tough to race the racetrack, let alone other drivers here. Parker Retzlaff up inside the top 5 made a pass on Brandon Jones, though he might be fading on the long run after making that said pass. Jones is going to get it back for 5th place. The returns 1 and 2. Jones really wrapping that bottom well. Brandon Jones, another former winner here. He actually won the spring race last season at Darlington Raceway. So a lot of former winners of the O'Reilly Series at this track up inside the top 5. Larson, Bell, Allgaier, and Jones have all won here in the past. Biggest movers in the first stage of the race, up 8 positions for Anthony Alfredo to 13th place after starting 21st. 7 spots gained for Ryan Sieg from 22nd to 15th. 12 spots gained for Jeremy Clements, most total in the race. Had a great run at Phoenix a couple weeks ago, getting a top 10 finish. He's in 18th place after starting 30th. Some of the biggest drivers going in the wrong direction of this race. Josh Williams down 10 spots from 17th to 27th. Harrison Burton down 8 spots from 14th to 22nd. Both of which outside the top 10, of course. 3 spots lost for Sawalich in the top 10 from 7th back to 10th. Most positions gained from the start of the race in the top 10. Jesse Love, Brandon Jones, each up 3 positions as well. Halfway through stage 1 this time by at the line. Larson still out in front by 3.7 seconds over Christopher Bell and Carson Kvapil. 7 seconds now out of the lead already. A 7.5 second gap to Justin Allgaier in 4th. 11.1 seconds to Brandon Jones in 5th in just 23 laps. 11.8 seconds to Parker Retzlaff in 6th. Jesse Love 12.7 out of the lead in 7th. Sam Mayer 14.2 out of the lead in 8th. 15 seconds back for Ross Chastain and William Sawalich, 15.7 seconds out of the lead in 10th. A half a track lead over 10th place in 24 laps. We did not see Larson dominate at Las Vegas last weekend like he usually does in the O'Reilly Series, but he did get the race win. He led only about 30 laps in that race. Today, he's probably looking to lead more than 30 in this first stage alone after starting on the pole. He was bad fast in practice as well earlier this morning. Jojo, welcome to the stream. Hello, race fans. Regine Huddleston, welcome back as well. Yep, 45, 45, 57 are the stage splits today. JoJo picking Bell, all right. Over 50% of the votes now taking Larson. He was above 30% at the start of the stream. Now he's up to 52 as he's dominating the early laps. So a lot of new vote getters that are coming into the stream for the first time today, seeing Larson in dominating fashion. They're going to take him in the chat poll. That's crazy, 52%. You don't see over 50% very often in our chat polls, but he's looking great. Other at 27%, only 3% with Ross Chastain, and 18% have Christopher Bell. Winner of the Truck Series race last night. Despite that stacked field with Hocevar, Chastain, Allmendinger, Bell from the Cup Series all in that race, it was a Truck Series regular getting the race win of Corey Heim. I should say Truck Series regular. He's running for truck points by technicality, so he was available for the Triple Truck Challenge, but he is part-time across all three series this year. And already winning. Picking up where he left off for winning the championship in that series a season ago. Bell is a bit better on the longer run than Larson. At lap 27, he was about a tenth faster than the 88 car and went from 3.8 seconds out of the lead now to 3 seconds out of the lead. Even though Larson is kicking everybody's tail right now, Christopher Bell is a noticeable second place driver because he's got more than the gap to third place than Larson has over him. He's got about a 3.5 second cushion over Carson Kvapil. Now a 2.7 second lead for Kyle Larson over Bell as Larson trying to navigate through lap traffic. Lap times are fading as well as he might have burned his stuff up early in the run, pushing as hard as he did. And all of that could be learning more for later. Yes, Darlington does have lights. Fall race usually in the night for the Cup Series. There is potential rain on the way as well. We do have to get to halfway or at the end of Stage 2 to make the race official. So lap 90 is the end of Stage 2. Halfway will actually be before that at about lap 73. So just something to keep an eye on today. Potential evening thunderstorm showers later. So they could be racing the rain, which is probably going to increase the intensity the closer we get to the end of Stage 2. Knowing any lap could be the last. Visual purposes, the race on the CW, as always, for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in full this year. Same for last. Adam Alexander, Jamie McMurray, Parker Kligerman on the call. We have reached lap 30. Yeah, some of the traffic was holding up Kyle Larson having to adjust his line. I'm sure Bell might be a little bit quicker at this point in the run, but it's probably by a tenth or two a lap rather than the 3 to 4 tenths he picked up for a couple laps when Larson was trying to get through some of the slower cars at the back of the pack. I think the field is lucky this race isn't longer, otherwise Kyle Larson's going to lap a lot more cars. 33 of the original 38 that started on the lead lap are a lap down after lap 31. 14 laps to go yet in this first stage. This time by at the line. Lead is down to 2.2. Bell putting up a fight, was a half a second faster than Larson that last lap. Larson ran a 34.542 to Bell's 33.993. Even Kvapil in third place has been a bit quicker the last several laps, but not as quick as Bell in second place. Side-by-side commercial break continues on the CW for the time being. We'll take our first break of the stream, and then I'll let you listen into a little bit of the broadcast over the next several laps. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race. Did I like Blaney in the booth for the truck race? I mean, good to hear my guy Ryan Blaney's voice. You can definitely tell he is not a regular up there in the booth. slipping on some stuff here and there, but he's been up there before. That probably helps. Joey Logano's up there like every other week, it seems like, for the Truck Series nowadays. Yeah, Larson, a lot heavier traffic in front of him. He's got about 4 cars within striking distance of trying to put a lap down. And Christopher Bell now within a second and a half of the lead because of it. And they are running multiple lanes. Larson up near the wall, side-by-side lap traffic. Patrick Starr Pulley down on the bottom. Larson's got nowhere to go.
Starr Pulley right now. And it's with sound gear. Wherever sound is a problem, sound gear is the solution. Scan the QR to learn more at soundgear.com. Turn it. Jesse Long, 7th. For our reigning champ, top 10 every race this year. This is the Wheeling onboard camera. Just mesmerized listening to the throttle. I think it's really hard to appreciate how hard that is. Yes. Unless you've done it. You can see him trying to whoa the car up, and it's literally like driving on snow. It's just kind of a controlled slide as you get up by the wall. Sometimes you use the throttle to drive up to the wall. Sometimes you use the throttle to drive away from the wall. But you see how busy his hands are, and the movement of your feet to your hands, and the discipline of running right next to the wall and to make speed. It's as hard as it gets. And you're constantly testing the grip level. So you see his hands. Not only is he navigating the car, but he's sort of checking as he does that where the car is at, what's the grip level. You're with the throttle. The reason you sort of modulate and play with it is that you're just testing, can I get a little more throttle here, can I not? And your feet, the only reference you have is the feel. And you watch ahead of him there, you have the 99 of Retzloff, who was sliding all over the place. He's trying not to do that. He's trying to keep the car straight but make lap time at the same time while sliding. It's just such an incredibly hard thing to do. See Alfredo having to work to the inside of Williams Sawalich right here. Williams struggling up on the outside. Anthony a little better here on the long run. This end's obviously easier. Get a look back at Anthony Alfredo and Austin Hill just a moment ago. Yeah, Austin gets real sideways there. It's just fighting for rear grip right there. He gives Alfredo the top side. Looks like right here. Yeah, watch his hands right here. I don't like white gloves, but I'll take the red gloves.
Austin Hill looking pretty slow on the racetrack as he got bypassed by a couple of cars. He's running down on the apron through 3 and 4. Seems to be very slow through 1 and 2, and I think he's down on power.
So he was carving back to the so he got really good speed and long run speed in that car. But this problem.
All right, so it sounds like maybe a vibration. He sounds like he's about to blow a right front fender. So unfortunately for Austin Hill, he is going to be coming to pit road for an unscheduled stop. He made contact with the wall earlier in the run, got loose a couple different times, battling the rear security of that race car. And Hill, after a great start early in the season, is now in the pit area. He is likely going to lose multiple laps because of this long, lengthy pit road at Darlington. It is only a 1.33 miles oval, and the fact that he was losing time on the track before he came into the pits. He was basically nursing it all the way around this racetrack for one whole lap. Culmination of everything there, not good for Hill. Once Kyle Larson got out of the brunt of the lap traffic he had to deal with coming out of the commercial break, it was a 1.5 second lead. It is now stretched back out to 2.8 seconds because obviously once Larson passed those cars, Bell was going to have to do the same. Still within 5 seconds is Carson Kvapil, looking better on the long run than what he was at over 7 seconds out of the lead at one point, but it is still the Kyle Larson show here today. 3 laps to go in stage 1, 2 to go, this time by at the line as Larson is out in front. Christopher Bell in second, Carson Kvapil third, Brandon Jones in fourth, Justin Allgaier fifth, and then Parker Retzlaff is sixth place. Seventh is Jesse Love, Ross Chastain eighth, Anthony Alfredo ninth. William Sawalich rounds out the top 10. Biggest mover of the race so far, 15 positions gained for Jeremy Clements from 30th to 15th, 12 spots gained for Anthony Alfredo from the 21st starting spot to 9th. Looking for some stage points. And we'll take a look at those point standings as we came into this race for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. As you see on our screen, Justin Allgaier is the series points leader after the first 5 events out of 33. 13 points back is the defending series champion Jesse Love. Austin Hill 29 points back, so third in points, having an issue already. Takes him out of a position to try to get stage points early, probably in stage 2. And the likelihood of having a good finish when you're multiple laps down is not very high either, especially in a shorter race in the O'Reilly Series like today's. Sheldon Creed fourth in points entering the day at 49 back, 64 back for Carson Kvapil in fifth. Sammy Smith is sixth in points. Top 6 all within 1 race worth of Justin Allgaier, our current points leader. Rookie Corey Day is 7th in the standings with Rajah Caruth 8th, Parker Retzlaff 9th, Sam Mayer rounding out the top 10. 12 drivers in total make the chase in the O'Reilly Series. You got Brandon Jones 11th, Taylor Gray last spot in 12th. First drivers out, Jeb Burton, Brennan Poole, William Sawalich, and Patrick Starpoli. Regular season, 26 races, so still 21 to go. Long ways, but you don't want to start too far behind too early and have to play catch up. Plus, you want to finish in those top couple positions in the point standings if you can help it, because you're going to have such a bigger jump on the rest of the chase standings when that chase gets started at 2,100 points, for instance, if you win the regular season championship. Austin Hill back out on the racetrack and not looking the fastest at the time. So hopefully he can get things fixed up. Working the final lap of stage number 1. Kyle Larson in control. Out to a nearly 3.5 second lead yet again. Bell was getting through lap traffic better and better in the middle portion of the run than Larson. But towards the end of the stage, Larson was just able to pass lap cars at a more efficient rate than that of Bell and Kvapil. Probably the rest of the field on top of that. Well, Kyle Larson so far, though, started on the pole, led the first 45 laps of Stage 1. Stage 1 will go caution-free. Green-white checkered flag already in the air. So Larson with the stage win, picking up where he left off after winning last week at Las Vegas in the O'Reilly Series. Christopher Bell in second, Carson Kvapil third, Brandon Jones fourth, Justin Allgaier rounding out the top 5 in fifth. Then you got Parker Retzlaff 6th, Jesse Love 7th, William Sawalich 8th, Anthony Alfredo 9th, Ross Chastain rounds out our top 10. And again, 1 point per position in the first 2 stages. So that's what we're looking at. Larson did not win a stage last week at Las Vegas en route to his victory. But this is looking like what we saw out of Kyle Larson last year in the few races he ran. He was able to win 3 of the 4 races he ran at the O'Reilly Series level, 2 of which in dominating fashion. The third that he dominated at Homestead, he led over half the laps, but on an overtime restart, had those rear tires kind of picked up off the ground after an early push from Sam Mayer in the restart zone, and unfortunately, did not win that race. We got almost 50 concurrent viewers in the chat. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. Our like goal is to get to 50 likes on today's stream, and we are currently at 35. So we did get to that like goal of 50 for the truck race last night. Let's see if we can get that here today as well. Be sure to vote for, again, who you think is going to win the race in our chat poll. 51% now taking Larson for the win. It's tipped off a bit, but still above 50%. 22% now taking Christopher Bell. His vote has gone up. It was at 17. He was consistently in second place that entire run, so we got a few more believers. Only 2% taking Ross Chastain. 24% taking somebody other than those 3 for the win. Still the second highest vote getting option in our poll. First pit stops of the day will be coming up shortly with the Stage 1 caution, our first yellow of the race at lap 45. We've worked a couple laps now under caution already. You're listening live on KRC to full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race. And when they come back from commercial, I'll let you listen into the broadcast on the pit stop side of things. Already just 100 laps to go in today's race. If it somehow goes caution-free this entire time, it will be done in less than 90 minutes. which is going to be absolutely wild. We're at the 28-minute mark already. Stage cautions slow it down a bit. So it's interesting. Had about 4 seconds of fall off over the course of the 45 laps in stage one. Because we had a couple early cautions in both of the first two and really the final stage last night, the truck race as well, we never really saw a green flag run on one set of tires of longer than 25 to 30 laps. So seeing that at 45 here and how much extra fall off there was, you go to some tracks and it kind of cliffs at a certain point where the tires just don't fall off anymore after like 30, 40 laps into the run. Here at Darlington, that's not the case. I mean, they're just constantly degrading until there's practically nothing left. Fuel window right around 60 laps here, but I don't think anybody's going to be worried about the fuel situations. With how slow the pace is, they're probably not burning as much anyway. And it's all about tires, plus with how short each of the three stages are, they will not have to pit under green flag conditions at all today. So while it is a very tough pit road to get to, you might have to worry about that more in the Cup race tomorrow than you will today in the O'Reilly race, and obviously no green flag stops in the truck race yesterday evening either, with our same stage splits. CW Battle Cam seems to have a thing for dude wipes, or at least the car. Hey, Anthony Alfredo having a great run here today, usually sponsored by Dude Wipes. Throughout the last few years of his tenure in the NASCAR ranks across any of the series he tends to race in. Looking good today, all the way up to ninth.
NASCAR on the CWG changer. Bundle insurance. Said you should watch people. Stage one complete here at Darlington. It's the perfect time. Fuel up with Arby's new $7.99 meat free box. Arby's is giving you a whole lot of food with a classic roast beef or a crispy fish sandwich and 3 delicious sides. That's one meal for your money. Scan the QR code to order now in the Arby's app. Arby's, what Arby's? It always feels like a throwback weekend when you come to Darlington. And if there's anyone who knows the value of a good crew, it's the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That's why they want to put the spotlight on the crew members that are essential to a race team's success. And here you see those that are getting it done for Jesse Love going over the wall. And everyone, all the names there are the same as they were last year with the exception of one when they were able to win that championship. But I just rewind to last Saturday in Las Vegas. I know they had the penalty, but really across the board, the times they were putting out were remarkable.
Well, and the penalty, let's be honest, was from the crew chief.
Yeah.
Who was filling in a position that where
it was a bad bounce.
It was a bad bounce, and all those things combined that he fell over the wall. So I think this pit crew, the RCR pit crews in general in the O'Reilly series for the last 3 or 4 years have really been the top of the line in terms of speed.
Yes, they have.
Consistency. They've treated it seriously. They've taken it seriously as the Cup cars move to single lug and keeping these 5 lug teams together, and so they get the benefit of that as we have multiple cars slow.
Yeah.
Also Jeremy Clements.
Jeremy was getting pushed in. You see the 28 also having a hard time getting back to pit road. It's like both of these cars have lost power. Well, out of fuel. We got to report out of fuel, but that just that doesn't add up. Fuel is something that is never an equation, part of the equation in this race, just because of you want tires and the length of the stages and all that. So obviously there was few miscues somewhere.
Go out right.
Yeah,
so it could be something similar here that happened to Sam Mayer last week. Well, and the other reason fuel that's really coming to the equation is you have 4.5 seconds of fall off we saw in the last run. It's a lot of all times. Basically, fuel mileage goes through the roof in terms of miles per gallon at this place as you go through a run.
And you mentioned, Parker, the massive amount of tire fall off. One of the hardest parts of a track like this is that you ended 4.5 seconds off the pace. They put new tires on, and now it's going to be incredible grip again. And to know how hard to be able to push it, whether you're out front or in the middle of the pack. It's such a spread from old tires to new tires. They added a lap before they'll open pit road because we had to get Kyle Sieg pushed out of the way. So we'll go around one more time before we get pit stops. Let's check in CW Garage with Carla.
Thanks, Adam. Well, NASCAR posted a video of Cale Yarborough earlier this week narrating what it takes to get around Darlington, and Harrison Burton referenced that this week, saying, despite the gap in time, it's the same thing that we do today, which makes it even more special for him when he gets to talk to his dad, Jeff Burton, a four-time winner at Darlington. Harrison said he can explain even what he did in the 90s and the early 2000s, and it all translates really well. And yeah, if you're wondering if there's maybe a little expectation for Harrison to perform well, he said, my dad probably feels like if my kid can't run well at Darlington, I failed as a dad. So talk about pressure, Adam.
Yeah, no doubt. And this has been a place, over the years, it's been pretty good to
Talk
Harrison.
about pressure.
At his stat line, and going to try to make something happen here as the day goes on. 22nd at the end of stage one. By the way, Josh Williams gets the free pass. He's 25th, so when he gets back on the lead lap here to begin stage two, we'll put 25 cars in that category. I guess we could get some wave rounds here. We're talking about the Austin Hill situation, but if he does the wave round, he would just get to one lap down. He's 2 in arrears right now. Pit stops are big here, especially if you're anybody other than the 88, because if you're going to get around him and put him in a compromising position, this is where you can try and do it. But look at the advantage.
I was going to say, he's got a bit of an advantage here.
Progressive pit road is open. Larson, Bell, Kloppel, Jones, Allgaier, everybody coming here. They want tires. They're in front of you, Dylan.
Yeah, it's Christopher Bell was the first one to peel off there. Top of the screen said that he was loose in the back of the car on exit to start the run, and then the entry goes away, so they're going to make an adjustment.
Somebody spun sideways on pit road.
Everywhere, half round out of the right rear, but the team was really happy with his lap times the second half of that run, Kim.
And for, it looks like we maybe have a spin on Jesse Love trying to get into his pit stop. As we think about Kyle Larson, though, the leader, much better car than he had during practice. In fact, he said the car loads way better than it did earlier today. Balance is good. He said by the end of the run, the last 15 laps or so is when I lost all rear 4 tires Sunoco fuel for Kyle Larson.
Race off Progressive pit road. There was about as much drama there as there was to find out who was going to win the stage. Larson by a mile. +1 for Kloppel. Jones gets 1. 2 in the wrong direction for Bell. Their status quo. And we're watching Jesse Love, who's going to have to come from the back. Had a penalty last week that put him behind the 8 ball, and now this. Boy, that was dangerous coming in.
Yeah, that's so tough, just trying to get stopped. Looks like was behind him just didn't realize he was checking up.
Okay, now that you've bundled your boat.
I gotta say, it seemed like the count was off as well, so maybe Jesse Love was potentially going off the count he was given by either his crew chief or the spotter as to how many boxes he was away, and that wasn't, accurate either. So either way, the driver was in control of the race car, missed the pit box, had to spin back around. Luckily, did not make contact with the inside wall as he locked it down in time, and also no crew members were hit or anything like that, which could definitely be a safety issue on pit road. Dangerous situation to have a car sliding at 45 miles an hour with bystanders trying to change tires, fuel their race cars, and do what they need to in others' pit boxes. Jesse Love was inside the top 10, right around 7th place at the end of stage 1. Kyle Larson easily wins the race off pit road at quite the gap with all the lap cars that he had put down and were in between himself and Christopher Bell during that slate of pit stops. Kind of a lengthy caution because a couple of drivers were running out of fuel pressure. Jeremy Clements and Kyle Sieg simultaneously had to get assistance back into the pits before pit road could open. So by the time we actually go green to start stage 2, quite some time is already going to be stripped away, which could help out Larson if he was maybe a little bit slower than Bell on the long run. It did seem like he was maybe struggling a bit in lap traffic at first, was part of that, but I mean, obviously having a shorter second stage is going to help, and he can really let loose. The outside lane not being very dominant or competitive right now in row 1 on these restarts also makes it more difficult for Kyle Larson, or for anybody to try to beat Larson, because getting in front of him into the first turn is going to be pretty difficult, let alone staying alongside of him. That's a tough break for Jeremy Clements having that fueling issue, by the way, because he had gained more spots than any driver in the field in that first stage from 30th to 15th. And I mentioned already having that great run of a top 10 at Phoenix a couple weeks ago, was running in the top 5 in that race before that final restart. He ended up falling back to about 10th, but had a great run going all day long. Decent run here today as well. So with Larson out in front, Carson Kvapil is in second, Brandon Jones third. Christopher Bell lost a couple positions in the pits, went from second back to fourth. Justin Allgaier fifth. William Sawalich is sixth after leaving the pits. Parker Retzlaff now seventh. Sammy Smith eighth. Corey Day ninth. Ross Chastain 10th. And you got Ryan Sieg 11th and Raja Karuth up to 12th place. Again, all to begin stage 2. Only caution today, our stage break, a lengthy one because of the couple cars stalling out during which. So we're already to 8 laps under caution, which means we're going to have less than 40 to go on this restart to begin stage number 2. To get to that lap 90 mark, which would end the stage. And if we get potential thunderstorm showers, which there are potential opportunities of that a little bit later on this evening, we're only 20 laps away from halfway. So very likely this race will be official here this evening.
Stage 1 complete. The Wheeling lights are on at Darlington. The same Wheeling emergency lights, sirens you see on safety vehicles here at the track are protecting first responders and communities all across America. And now let's take a look at our replay of the day, brought to you by Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit Progressive.com. It's Jesse Love coming onto the pit lane.
Right, he's being followed by William Sawalich here. So you see that orange car behind the red one, and there's just a hit right there as Jesse has turned to go into his stall. He's already on the brakes.
Wow.
That spins him around, and thus he hits that tire, which kind of gives a little bit of damage to the nose. And it starts him trying to figure out, get pointed the backwards way. Then his crew chief, Dave Stockman, came on and said, just spin it around. You're too close to the wall. This became all sorts of fun. Pit road.
I feel like we bear a little bit of responsibility.
You give them a shout out. Hey, there's no we in this.
Yeah. And I didn't say one word.
Jumped in. You stayed out of it.
Yeah, I did. I knew better. Sorry, Danny. Well, he was calm through the whole thing. He was really calm. Really calm.
Listen, there's nothing to gain. Once they were going the wrong direction, he knew that they were going to come out last. Just have to regroup, make sure all the wheels are tight, go back out and try to rebound.
25 cars on the lead lap. By the way, Jesse had finished 7th in the stage. So he'll come from outside the top 20, gives you an idea of the price they're going to pay for what happened there on the pit lane. Front row, Larson and Kvapil. Field is set for the Poet restart zone. Ready for
35 laps to go after 10 laps of caution at the stage break, and Kyle Larson will restart as the leader inside of row 1 again. Another great launch, and he's well clear at the start-finish line, let alone headed into turn 1. Brandon Jones going to be fighting for second place into the first turn right now with Carson Kvapil in the 1, and Jones will take over that spot after restarting on the inside of row 2. Kvapil is on the outside of row number 1. He'll be in third place, and Christopher Bell trying to get a couple spots back after finishing second in stage 1. Ran there most of the day after qualifying second as well. All the way down to the bottom of the track is Bell, well below that white hash line on the inside, doing everything he can to pull alongside Kvapil by the exit of turn 4. Can't quite do that there. And he'll have to try to set up and make another move at some point in the next lap or two. Curious to see if anybody puts down a faster lap in this race in stage 2 on this restart than what we had back in stage 1, as adjustments have been able to be made for the first time. And that could be whether it was for Larson or others in the pack. And there you have it, lap 57, Brandon Jones, Carson Kvapil, and Ross Chastain all in the top 6, ran their fastest lap of the race that last time by. Still about 2/10 off of Larson's fastest lap of the race, and about 1/10 or so off of the last lap time that Larson was able to put down, as he tries to stretch this lead out quickly. Got to a 3.5 to 4 second lead earlier, kind of sat on it for most of the stage. Shorter run in stage 2 by way of green flag laps, so you can maybe even get away with pushing a little bit harder. Not burning as much on the back side of the run with those tires. With 10 less laps that you would have to run. Kyle Larson versus the rest of the field today. They show love and how he ended up backwards in his pit. Yeah, he made a little bit of contact with William Sawalich before trying to turn left to get into his box. Sawalich was in front of him. And I'm not sure if that was the reason for him maybe sliding, but he definitely, I mean, he was out too far. I think it was going to be very tough for him to get stopped regardless with how his car was pointed sideways in the back half of his box anyway. I think that was more at that point. He got it locked down and he was just trying to keep it from sliding too far away. Carson Kvapil taking over second place that last time by through 3 and 4 on Brandon Jones, and Christopher Bell going to be in hot pursuit of his teammate now as well. Bell looking low through turns 1 and 2. Staying in that middle, the lower lane of the racetrack, all the way through turns 1 and 2, while Jones diamonds the corner out just in front of him. Kvapil putting a little bit of distance between himself and Jones. Brandon now down to the bottom of the track at 3 and 4. Bell's got open room to run on the outside. He should be able to beat Jones back to the gas. He's not going to be able to get to his outside by the exit of turn 4, but I think getting into 1, he's going to have a major run on him. Kyle Larson up to a 2.5 lead over Kvapil after that change of position behind him. And Larson looking to run away with it. We'll go through the full field running order. Lap 63 of 147. Kyle Larson leads. Carson Kvapil second. Brandon Jones third. Christopher Bell in fourth. And Justin Allgaier rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Ross Chastain in sixth. Parker Retzlaff seventh. Corey Day eighth. William Sawalich in ninth. And 10th is Ryan Sieg. 11th is Sammy Smith. Sheldon Creed in 12th. Anthony Alfredo 13th. Nick Sanchez 14th. And Harrison Burton 15th. 16th is Sam Mayer. 17th Brennan Poole. Raja Kruth 18th, 19th Josh Balicki, and Jesse Love in 20th. J.J. Yaley 21st, Dean Thompson 22nd, Taylor Gray in 23rd, Garrett Smithley 24th, and Josh Williams, the last car in the lead lap, at 25th. Jeb Burton at 26th, Jeremy Clements 27th, 28th is Austin Hill. He did take the wave around from 2 laps down with having to pit late in stage 1, so he did save that set of tires. He's even with the rest of the field there, but now he's 1 lap down instead of 2. So again, Hill in 28th, and you got Alex LeBay 29th. Patrick Starpoli in 30th, 31st LeVar Scott, Myatt Snyder 32nd, Austin Green 33rd, Kyle Sieg 34th, Ryan Ellis 35th, Joey Gase 36th, Blaine Perkins 37th, and Nathan Bird 38th. Both Jeremy Clements and Kyle Sieg, who had those fuel pump issues or running out of fuel or whatever the issue was in stage 1, they are still in the race but off the lead lap. Having those couple extra laps on his tires for Austin Hill is going to hurt his chances of trying to get the free pass to the next caution or the end of stage 2, whatever happens first. Kvapil with a little bit more clean air in front of him as Larson is pulling away. We'll see if he's going to be able to try to hold on. Cup Series Darlington lap record 28.332 from Denny Hamlin. Yeah. And they were, what, about 0.8 of a second off of that today? In qualifying. These next-gen cars are a lot heavier, even though they're running 750 horsepower again. They're just a lot heavier than they were. Plus, this track has aged quite a bit. Last repaved 19 years ago. If they were to repave Darlington, maybe they would have a shot at going for the track record again, but not in its current form. Drivers and fans alike are probably hoping that they don't repave this track anytime soon. Even the parts that they did repave in Turn 2 a few years ago, aging very quickly in the few years that we've had what was a grip strip at a short point in time. Maybe not as much anymore, and there's quite the dip up off the exit of Turn 2 from that newer pavement to the old. Offsets the car in its own right. Larson still hanging in there with about a 1.6 second lead halfway through stage 2 already.
Great to have you with us. Series racing at Darlington on CW. It's 200. Larson has led the first 68 laps from the pole, took the green and white checker flag to end stage 1. Carson Kvapil is second, having a great day. Brandon Jones has been impressive. He's third. Christopher Bell started front row. He's fourth. Ross Chastain just got 5th away from Justin Allgaier. Retzloff has been awesome today. Corey Day is 8th. Some pretty names surfacing just outside the top 10. You go back to 19th. There's the 32 of Raja Karuth. Give some love to the 07 of Josh Galicki, who's got it inside the top 20. Dean Thompson right there in front of Taylor Gray, who's struggled here this afternoon.
Keep an eye on that. The 21, he's trying to come back from having that right front go down. He's active 1 lap down. He's trying to chase down Jamie Clements, possibly to be the first car 1 lap down. That's such a good display of what this track can do. It's extremely narrow. We talk about the fast line being right up against the wall, but you saw those 3 cars all run 3 totally different lines, all similar speed. Roger running kind of up against the wall. C. Thompson and that tribute car to Greg Biffle. So cool to see that out here. Taylor Gray right behind him. Taylor gets a little bit of a run off 2, gonna make it 3 wide down here into 3 and 4. Look at how many rides. That is lower than you ever seen outside of a restart or avoiding a wreck down into 3. It worked. Well, there's no out of bounds here. Fine grip. You go places and you just find grip. Just trying to narrow up the entry of that corner.
So he hasn't had the speed today that he had last week in Vegas, but he felt like a hero right there, a little 2 for 1.
Well, he called his shot, said it was going to be a blue-collar day. In the pre-race show, knew they didn't feel like they had much practice earlier today.
Got to roll the sleeves up, and he still got them rolled up. Racing Raja, right of your screen, left of your screen. Justin Allgaier, who's had 9 consecutive top 10 finishes here, matches Mark Martin for the most all-time, racing with Parker Retzloff. 99 has been incredibly consistent in this race.
It's like Ross Chastain might be holding up this train. You see no one out front and a lot right there behind. The 9 car's struggling maybe just a little bit for grip.
Oh, I thought Allgaier was
I'm gonna say he's in a really tough position there when you're faster than the car that's on the top, but you've got another car that's to your inside, like Retzloff. You're kind of limited on your choices and almost could get stuck right there. It's also affecting your aero a little bit, so you're just trying to find that path forward to fend off that car on the bottom, because you potentially think if you can get away from the car in front of you that's on the outside, you can get away from that car that's threatening you on the bottom.
Retzloff, Allgaier for 6th. Behind them in 8th right now, Corey Day. And ever since the issues at Circuit of the Americas, he's just been quietly inside the top 10, led laps last week in Las Vegas, but doing all the things you need to do to grow for this young driver from California.
Well, we heard about the conversation that Rick Hendrick had with Corey Day, and told him, listen, we didn't use it. You got to calm down just a little bit. Go out, run laps, don't make any mistakes, don't make enemies, don't be the show for the wrong reason. And he has done exactly that. You said it, Adam. It's been really fun to watch him. Look at that, right up against the wall. I think he's one of the guys probably most comfortable being able to do that. He does it in the sprint cars week after week. Got to think he leaned on Kyle Larson, his teammate, kind of mentor coming into this season. I think you said it, Corey's just done an awesome job here. Oh, Parker, hang on. He's been doing that all race. He's been doing that for 75 laps.
In this situation, you're saying it to Parker Retzloff. You're usually saying that to
Keep your eyes on the race, man. Sir, tell you the race.
You want some confidence, race all over Darlington and drive around Christopher Bell. That's for you, huh?
That's awesome.
I gotta think the 19 spotter's like 99.
Hang on.
And here comes the 17 of Corey Day. Over 30 laps into stage 2. 15 remain. Our Mobile One leaderboard shows Larson out front. Quapple, Jones, Chastain, Allgaier, your top 5. Thanks for being with us on CW.
All right, commercial break on the CW side by side. Our full coverage of today's race continues. Top 6 in the running order. Kyle Larson out ahead by 3.1 seconds over Carson Quapple in second. Brandon Jones 4.5 seconds back in third. Ross Chastain 8.8 off the lead in fourth. Justin Allgaier 9.2 seconds out of the lead in fifth. Parker Retzloff having himself a day. 9.7 seconds out of the lead in sixth. Definitely the underdog of the day is Retzloff. If he can continue on and get that top 10. Christopher Bell and that 19 team had to have gone the wrong way on an adjustment during that caution at the stage break. First pit stop of the day. He was running second after starting second in stage 1. In stage 2, he's got nothing but go backwards to drop back into 7th place. He's 10.3, now 11 seconds out of the lead. And that last lap, he ran a 33.827 to Larson's last lap was a few tenths slower still. So not sure what happened with Bell in that 19 car, but they have fallen behind, and they were the closest competition in stage 1 to that of Kyle Larson. So now the competition and that hill to climb for anybody to beat Larson has just gotten that much more steeper. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of the Sports Clips Help a Hero 200 at Darlington. Larson down below 50% now on our voting poll for who you think is going to win today's race. 49% taking him for the win out of the 59 votes still. 20% taking Christopher Bell. 3% with Ross Chastain. And 27% for somebody other than those three drivers. You have until the end of stage 2 to vote, which would be lap 90. And they are working lap 80 to 81 this time by. Other statistical category leaders so far on the O'Reilly Series season. We'll look at laps led. Jesse Love has led the most this year with 208. His teammate Austin Hill, 116 laps led. Second most. Sam Mayer's led for 80 laps this season, the third most of the O'Reilly regulars. Points leader Justin Allgaier, 61 laps led, and 38 for Sheldon Creed, who got his first career win at Atlanta. The three winners this year in the O'Reilly Series, Allgaier, Hill, and Creed. And we have had 2 Cup regulars win already, Shane Van Gisbergen at Coda, Kyle Larson last week at Vegas. We have not seen a repeat winner yet, but Larson looking to be the first here today, looking dominant as ever. Top 10s on the season, most in the series, 4 apiece for Sammy Smith, Corey Day, Justin Allgaier, 1 behind Jesse Love with 5. Nobody has finished in the top 10 at all of the races minus Love. Love trying to keep that streak alive, just had a pit penalty, but it came back from that in the last race. I shouldn't say a pit penalty this time as much as it was just getting spun on pit road. Last week it was a pit penalty, but they still came back for a top 10 finish. Top 5s on the year, most in the series. Up towards the top of the leaderboard, you got Allgaier, Jesse Love, Sheldon Creed, Sammy Smith, all at 3 apiece. And again, those 3 drivers with 1 win in the series and the 2 Cup regulars as well.
Hey, for tonight's spot of $20 million. For finishing 6th in stage 1. So he comes from outside the top 20 on the restart, has driven it up to 15.
Yeah, look at the sun. Oh, yeah, laying into his. We talked about the windshield getting pitted and the sun hitting that. You can't see anything, and it's not a big deal at most tracks, but here where you run 6 inches off the wall, you kind of want to see everything heading into 3.
Power movers since the restart. Love at +9. Kyle Sieg in that same category. They had the fuel issue at the end of stage 1. He's a lap down. Jeremy Clements is also being scored a lap down. Could be in a free pass situation here. We'll continue to monitor that. He's +12 since the restart.
Yeah, to get back there to the backstretch, you notice the sun, Jamie, you mentioned, that gets worse. And what makes it really tough is that you can't see that entry point in the 3 at all. So you start to just guess as it gets a little lower here in this race. And it's really where you're working even more so off the, because you can't even see. It's such a tough thing. And on restarts, with that sun in your face and they're 3 wide in front of you, you literally can't tell what's going on.
Just as I said, Clements might get the free pass. Larson goes around Garrett Smithley and Josh Williams, 88 on a run with 7 to go on the stage.
Yeah. Pretty typical for this racetrack. That's kind of the balance shift you get from end to end. I'm just sitting here laughing as Larson's casually running 3 inches off the wall. No big deal. Highest car on the racetrack, just managing that race. And for a lot of this run, he's been 2.5 tenths faster than second place. It's unbelievable the pace that he's had. Now it started to sort of equalize as we got past lap 25 of this run. Carson Kwapu's in second, about 4 seconds back. Right here, he started to match Larson's lap times more consistently, even if Larson's not in traffic. But there's going to be the rest of these teams and drivers are going to come up to such speed to take down that 88 Kyle Larson. This is quite the showing by Larson.
Brandon Jones, average running position 4.5 on the day. 3rd right now, Dylan.
Yeah, he is hanging with Carson Kwafu there in the race for a second as he starts to inch closer in that battle. The 20 is keeping tabs on the 88 way in front of him. Let's get some Starkey radio communication and hear what they're saying.
88 is talking about 3, so we're going to go on.
Well, I hate to tell you, but he's almost 5 seconds out in front right now, so it's you got enough runs to make that up. And I like that you're keeping your driver pumped up inside of there and trying to find any weakness you can out of that 88. The optimism is key because you are going to say it is. So you try to say, hey, look, I know it doesn't look great from outside your windshield because your pacer, he can't see the leader anymore. He's driven away from you. You are doing some things that are matching him, and I've seen it in the lap times. The problem is there are occasionally lap times where Larson is 2/10 faster than just everyone on the track, basically. So, yes, that's good. Yes, that's paying off. You're doing the right things, but we've got to, you don't want to be complacent. You might have to find something in this pit stop to go battle with it. Well, and crew chiefs are notorious to only tell you the one lap that you are quicker. They didn't remind you of the 10 prior to that he was quicker, and they'll tell you, hey, you're catching him, and the drivers will be like, well, why is he getting smaller? He's trying to wait for being your choice.
Crew chiefs sell blue sky, right? Sometimes they tell the drivers what they want to hear. But you talk about an adjustment. We make this pit stop at the end of stage 2. That could be it because you don't have to come back for fuel. History would suggest somewhere in that final stage, you'll get a caution and come down and pit again, maybe more than once because you'll have enough tires to do that. But it's possible to run it out.
Oh, my God. Oh, boy. Oh, Larson's loose right there on the top, leaving back Larson on the corner. The line that he runs leaves him in a great position, though, because as you watch all these guys enter a little bit low, it gives him the clean air that he needs. And what he'll do right here is he won't use full throttle to drive right up on him. You'll kind of he's lazy through the middle of the corner, so you have the momentum on the exit to pass him on the straightaway.
How about Larson when he won here in 2023, led 46 laps? That's the most laps he had ever led in a race here until today. He's going to lead the first 90, sweep stage 1 and stage 2. Kyle Larson hitting them right between the eyes at Darlington. Quapple.
Yes, he did.
In the opening stage. Jones up there with Allgaier, Retzloff top 5 in the stage. Here, Swalich got Creed. Swalich going to get the final stage point. As you said, he's able to hold off Creed and get 10th. Alfredo up there, Day, Bell as well. Viking first and 7th for Kyle Larson. It's the 5th time he's swept stage 1 and stage 2. It stops when we come back.
Kyle Larson going to win stage 2 just as he did stage 1, dominating fashion. He's led every lap of the race today. Carson Quapple sits in second, over 5 seconds out of the lead at the end of the stage. Brandon Jones in third, Justin Allgaier fourth, Parker Retzlaff up to 5th place. Great run for him. Ross Chastain has moved up to 6th, race high also for the 9 team. Anthony Alfredo 7th, rallied back after a slow pit stop. Corey Day in 8th, Christopher Bell fell back to 9th, and William Swalich rounds out the top 10 and got that final stage point. Only 2 yellows today have been the stage breaks, and nothing else to record other than Kyle Larson has dominated this race from start to finish. Leading every lap, still no lead changes. He might go wire to wire. And by might, I mean it's very likely he goes wire to wire. They would need a caution to come out to have a better opportunity to try to beat him on pit road because he laps so many cars during these stages that he's got quite the gap between first and second place that there's not really a lot of urgency by the 88 team to have the fast stop and still get him off of pit road first. Lou Man, thanks for tuning in. Am I doing tomorrow's race? Yes. Yes, I am. We are live for every Cup, Truck, and O'Reilly Series race right here on the channel, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. So live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend. Hope to see many of you guys back tomorrow. Our start time for the race stream will be 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So again, 2:30 p.m. Eastern will be live tomorrow. Going to end the chat poll, which is at 64 votes. Now that we're at the end of stage 2, 52% of those 64 votes taking Young Money, Kyle Larson, for the win. 27% have somebody other than Larson, Bell, or Chastain. Bell at 19% have fallen down a little bit, not only in the running order, but that chat poll at the end of stage 2. Ross Chastain up to 6th. Only 2% of those 64 votes took him. If Chastain wins, I want to know who the roughly 2 to 3 people were that took Ross Chastain for the win in this race. Out of curiosity. All right. So Larson with that lap car advantage going into the pits. Pit road will be open shortly. Shouldn't be as long of a caution as we had during the stage 1 pit stops, and that's only because we hopefully won't have anybody stalling out on pit road or on the racetrack that needs assistance back into the pits like we saw out of Jeremy Clements and Kyle Sieg back in stage 1. Larson did not lap as many cars in the second stage as earlier. Josh Williams in 21st. I created a number there. In 24th position, Josh Williams is going to get the free pass and get back on the lead lap. So Austin Hill, Jeremy Clements still a lap down, unfortunately for them. Race is flying by here this afternoon as Kyle Larson stinks up the show. Fun to watch his dominance. He was on an episode of the Dale Jr. Download. I believe it was after his Homestead. No, not Homestead. It might have been Bristol, where he dominated the Cup and the O'Reilly race last season. And he said he goes into this series expecting to dominate and looking to embarrass the field, quite honestly, and show how much better of a world-class race car driver he is. And he's putting that into full effect here this afternoon.
Caution lights are on. What you're seeing on the track right now is the same wheel and emergency warning technology used by police, fire, and EMS vehicles across America, trusted every day to protect those who protect us. Kyle Larson gets the sweep. I said going to break, I got a little excited about Viking and their performance. I said they were 1st and 7th. They're 5th and 7th. But either way, remarkable what they've been able to do here. And I would really put the exclamation point on Anthony Alfredo, who, because of the metric, had to go out early in qualifying after the troubles he had last week to drive up in the top 10. Just remarkable.
Definitely, they've the younger team, pit crews can be tough to get the fastest pit crews, so we'll see if they can keep those positions, but a great job by them.
Aggressive pit road is open. Larson leading them down, Dylan.
We'll start up at pit in with Brandon Jones in the 20 car. He said his initial throttle pickup point in the center of the corner of the car is good, but it builds loose off the corner. They'll make a small adjustment there. Carson Quapple in the middle said his car was tighter and way more drivable the first 20 laps.
Another car that's spun on pit road.
The balance, they're going to make an adjustment to try to help the beginning and end of the run, Kim.
Dylan, the 88 of Kyle Larson there on the bottom of your screen. See that chassis adjustment? They're tightening him up just a little. He asked for that. Said, I can see him to be a little bit tighter, but I was sliding the front and moving to at the end of that run. No big swings. That's that quick tighten up for him. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel.
Race off aggressive pit road. +1 for Brandon Jones. He said it on the radio. Me out on the pit lane, and what is it? With cars facing the wrong direction today on the pit lane. This is the 9 of Ross Chastain. Larson comes off second, Allgaier, Day, and then Bell. Let's watch this.
This is going to be possibly similar to what we saw from Jesse Leveling Sawallich. So the 9 starts to check up, and Alfredo gets into it. One of the reasons is you watch your lights so closely here against the tires, that can make it tough to see what's ahead of you.
More contact in the pits, and we've seen spins back-to-back times. No issue in the truck race last night, and I'm curious how the Cup race is going to go tomorrow with that as well. Full screen commercial break on the CW. Brandon Jones wins the race off pit road, so Larson will not go wire to wire and lead every lap of this race today. 15-second pit stop, by the way, for Larson. I would imagine it was in the 13 seconds or less for Brandon Jones. So not the quickest pit stop. I get not having to have a sense of urgency because of not wanting to make a mistake on pit road and having that gap with the lap cars. But Brandon Jones still won the race out of the pits. So congrats to that 20 team, giving him a chance. And remember, Jones has won at Darlington in this series in the past. We're going to take a break. You're listening live on KRC to the Sports Clips Help a Hero 200. Our coverage continues of the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Yep, Martinsville next week, and then we got Bristol after that. Darlington this week. A lot of racers, racetracks for these next few weeks on the NASCAR schedule, so a lot of fun. Las Vegas last week put on a pretty good race, especially for the Cup Series, and Love those 1.5 miles on the Cup side. With this next-gen car, puts on some great racing. More great racing to come tomorrow. Solid truck race last night with an epic finish. Corey Heim, last lap, last corner pass for the win on Ross Chastain. Taking it to him with those slightly fresher scuff tires. If I'm Kyle Larson, I have to take the inside of row 2 on this restart and try to make quick work of Brandon Jones if you can. I don't think he's going to be able to extend his lead quite as far. Restarting behind him if he does get to the lead on Jones. But the outside of row 1 is just not fired off well, not only today, but last night in the truck race. And we saw at times where the driver on the outside of row 1 falls back to 3rd or 4th place on the restart. So if you're in 2nd, I don't think you can afford to restart up there. Not only competing for the lead, but you're in danger of losing 2nd place into the first turn. The first 2 starts today. Christopher Bell was barely able to hold on for 2nd on the first initial start, but the 2nd with the restart, not so much. We got a caution turning into a red flag. No, okay. It's still under caution. That scared me for a second. It said red flag on our screen for a short bit, and luckily it's still a caution circumstance. Hopefully it's not because there's like lightning in the area or anything. Again, there were possible thunder showers before the end of the race today. We are past halfway and obviously in the 3rd and final stage, so the race would be official if we did see a torrential downpour. We did get to our like goal on today's stream as well, 50 likes, so greatly appreciate that, everybody. We're at 55 likes on the stream at this point.
Darlington, South Carolina for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. This stage break brought to you by Arby's. It's a great scene, isn't it? Great night as the sun sets here in South Carolina. Brandon Jones getting an assist on pit road. Now we see what he can do with Larson.
And the question we had was, what would Larson choose to do at the choose? Does he go to the outside, which we've seen just not work for anyone?
I take the inside road 2.
Does he choose to go to the inside?
Can revisit what happened to Ross Chastain coming on the pit lane.
Well, we saw very similar to Swalwich getting in the back of Jesse Love earlier. You see right there, Ross started to slow down for his pit box. Anthony Alfredo behind him. And I'm with you, Parker. I believe it's people looking at their lights. Yes. You're just trying to maximize those lights. That tire got hit. Shoots out all the way across pit road. This is super dangerous for the pit crew members. Only with the car sliding sideways, but based on if that tire gets hit again, flying down pit road. Yeah, NASCAR called him out for an uncontrolled tire. There was a few more things uncontrolled at that point, like the full race car. That was the least of their concern.
What's up, Kim?
Yeah, we're going to check in Kyle Larson's tires. Remember, this was the first right front tire that came off at the end of stage 1, so heavy cording across the entire surface. This right here was the right front that just came off, so still some cording, but along that inner shoulder of the tire. Now, Marty Lindley, the crew chief, did warn Kyle, if this goes green, this will be the longest run of the day, so be careful with those tires.
Larson goes inside of row 2 instead of taking...
Smart move.
They're coming through the public restart.
Green flag back in the air, 3rd place. Justin Allgaier actually on the outside of row 1 as Brandon Jones leads him to the green. And Allgaier had a pretty good launch in that outside lane, door-to-door with the 20 car through the first turn. And he's trying to stay with them up off the exit of turn 2. Justin Allgaier will sneak by and take the lead on the outside. And that means Larson's now back to 3rd. And Larson will quickly try to attack for 2nd in turns 3 and 4 to the inside of Brandon Jones. Doesn't want that 7 car to get out and get running away from him. Larson clear for 2nd, barely in between the 20 and the 7. And now we'll go after Allgaier for the lead as Allgaier leads his first lap of the day. So Brandon Jones did not lead a green flag lap, but he led under caution, of course, after winning the race off pit road with the stage 2 pit stops. Larson led all 90 laps of stage 1 and stage 2, which went caution free. We had 49 laps to go on the restart, so it'd be a 49-lap green flag run to the end. Clean air advantage for Allgaier. Is that going to be what he needs to try to beat Kyle Larson here today? Larson looking to put his team on his back and race his way right back up there as quickly as he possibly can. Ross Chastain trying to come back after spinning on pit road and the uncontrolled tire penalty that came along with that. And he is currently in 23rd towards the tail end of the lead lap. Jesse Love, who had spun during the first pit stop of the day at the end of stage 1, is now back in the top 10 after this restart. He is up to 10th. So great job by Love trying to rally back and keep that top 10 streak alive to start the season. He has not finished outside the top 10 in the first 5 races of the year. Obviously, this now race 6. And just 43 laps to go this time by. Allgaier still leading over Larson by about 0.3 of a second. 0.6 back to Brandon Jones in 3rd, and Christopher Bell back into 4th place at 0.8 of a second off the lead. Don't forget about him, despite the fact that he had slid backwards in stage 2. Might have went the wrong way with an adjustment. I'm sure they moved it back for the start of stage 3 because he's looking more sporty already. Allgaier keeping a really good pace on Kyle Larson right now. 00 car, Sheldon Creed, well down to the inside, trying to make a pass on Corey Day. They battle for 5th. Great run for Day after running back half of the top 10 in the first 2 stages, now up inside the top 5. Creed not able to stay along with Day on the front stretch, and Corey working that middle to upper groove most of the way around both ends of the racetrack. Doing pretty good. Brandon Jones under duress from Bell for 3rd. Christopher Bell to the inside through turns 3 and 4, looking to take that spot. He's clear up off the exit of the corner. Christopher Bell back in it here at Darlington after it looked like things were slipping away. That team had a much faster pit stop at the end of stage 2 than what they did stage 1 also. Sheldon Creed finally making the pass for 5th on Corey Day. Getting back up in the top 5. And really, first time we've seen Creed in the top 5 today as well. Underdog of the race, Parker Retzlaff still in the top 10 and 8th. Anthony Alfredo losing time on both pit stops today. He is now outside of the top 10 and currently in 15th. After being top 10 at the end of both stage 1 and stage 2. He was 9th place in both stages. So not just one Fight King Motorsports car doing very good today, but 2 of them having a stellar performance. Showing a replay of Corey Day scraping the wall through turns 3 and 4 a couple laps ago. That might have allowed for Sheldon Creed to make the move that he did that following lap. Kyle Larson getting closer to the back of the 7 of Justin Allgaier. Haven't seen Allgaier run in the top 2 today. A pretty good pit stop of his own to get up to 2nd. Well, really 3rd place, and then obviously 2nd on the restart. Just a masterful restart on the outside of row 1. We haven't seen anybody take the lead on the outside lane of either the truck or O'Reilly races so far this weekend until that restart. Let alone the fact he wasn't even the control car either, like we had seen a couple of times in the truck race last night where drivers would try it and fail trying to do so. Larson's going to keep this battle up for a long time, and you just wonder if Allgaier is going to be able to keep up. Is Allgaier maybe pushing too hard too early in the run? Is Larson, the veteran, saving a little bit more, knowing he's going to need that stuff later? And then Christopher Bell, who had to pass all those cars on the restart, you also wonder if he maybe used his stuff up a little bit too much earlier in the run. He's definitely losing pace now to both the 88 and the 7. So we'll see if he gets that back at any point in time and we start to see the top few in the running order crunch together as we get later into the race. We have not seen a caution for incident so far today. We are down under 40 laps to go at the Darlington Raceway. We'll go through the full field running order right now here early in stage 3. Justin Allgaier leading for the first time still. Kyle Larson in 2nd after leading over 90 laps this afternoon. Christopher Bell in 3rd. Brandon Jones 4th. Corey Day rounding out the top 5 as he's back in front of Sheldon Creed. Creed now in 6th again. Carson Kvapil 7th after losing a few spots in the pits. A 17-plus second pit stop for Kvapil after he was 2nd at the end of stage number 2. Parker Retzlaff in 8th, underdog of the day award for him. Sam Mayer in 9th, and Jesse Love rounds out the top 10. 11th is Sammy Smith, Ryan Segan 12th. 13th is the Ford of Nick Sanchez. Anthony Alfredo 14th. 15th is Harrison Burton. Then William Sawalich in 16th. Brennan Poole 17th. Ross Chastain 18th. Dean Thompson 19th. And Josh Bilicki in 20th. 21st is Taylor Gray. Raja Kurd 22nd. J.J. Yaley 23rd. Josh Williams 24th is the last car in the lead lap. And you got Jeremy Clements first car lap down in 25th. Kyle Sieg 26th. Patrick Starpoli 27th. Jeb Burton 28th. LeVar Scott 29th. And 30th is Alex Labay. Austin Green in 31st, Garrett Smithley 32nd, Nathan Bird 33rd, Austin Hill 34th, and Blaine Perkins 35th. 36th place is Myatt Snyder, 37th is Ryan Ellis and Joey Gase, 38th, rounding out the field. All 38 cars that started the race are on the track, but again, only 24 on the lead lap as we began the final stage tonight. 49 laps in this final stage. Battle for the lead continues between Kyle Larson and Justin Allgaier. Larson peeking out from the outside of the racetrack down to the bottom out of turn 2, getting a little bit of clean air on the nose as he tries to have that lower line exit. Justin Allgaier carries the momentum off of the top all the way through the corner. He's going to try to take Larson's line away as much as he can. Larson starting up near the top, cutting down to the middle to lower lane now off turn 4 as well. Just looking for a pathway to get by the 7. Allgaier has not slipped the wheel yet, so it's making it very difficult for that 88 car to make this pass. Well, the pressure is on, to say the least. And if they get to battling side by side for a lap or two here, you wonder if Christopher Bell is still only 1.6 seconds out of the lead, can maybe close in a bit. Larson taking a peek, maybe trying to get a little bit of the air off of the rear spoiler of Allgaier. Through 3 and 4, down to the inside. Hanging on that left rear corner panel off the exit of the corner. But middle of the front stretch, Allgaier gets the pole pass and is clear into turn 1 yet again. Larson starts turns 1 and 2 off on the high side. Allgaier started low, sweeping to the top. Now Larson gets the cut through the center of the corner. Down to the bottom on exit. Across the bump, Allgaier gets loose but holds on to the lead as he stays on the throttle. 3 and 4, Larson starts wider again. We'll see if he tries to get the cut center off as he has done the last couple of laps. He does, but he's not close enough to attack yet on Justin Allgaier, and that 7 car continues to lead. But Larson's got to run this time down the front stretch more so than he has a couple laps prior. Did not try to make a move to the inside into turns 1 and 2. He's going to start wide, and Allgaier might have carried a little bit too much speed in because actually Larson bump drafted him down the front stretch. Allgaier lifts in the middle of the corner more than he has in recent laps, and Larson will take through to the lead off turn 2. 32 laps to go this time by, and we will have our third lead change of the day. Kyle Larson back out in front for the second different time. 16 laps led for Allgaier, all in the final stage 3, all under caution for Brandon Jones. And Larson has led the other 94 laps that have been completed out of 117 thus far in this 147-lap race. And Larson quickly pulling away from Allgaier, getting that clean air advantage on the 7 car and out to a half a second lead. Bell is about 1.2 seconds off of Allgaier for second and 1.7 seconds out of the lead on Larson. 31 laps left.
Opening stage, and you felt like it is back inside the top 10. 9 or 41. I feel like that the guys from HFT dialed their car in for the cooler temperatures and the shade, because we practiced noon Eastern time, and we knew that this track would be different in the race than what it was during practice, and here we are, money on the line, and both these cars have come to life late.
It's a good bet for sure, and I think they just worked on them. I think the driver behind the wheel, that 41 Sam Mayer, is really good and adept at these racetracks. There's that. Yeah, I think that helps. So all those things combined, and that's why we run the races, and that's why you look forward to those pit stops, being able to work on these cars and make adjustments, and that's what great teams do, is they make a car better. They find a way to evaluate in those runs and say, okay, this is what the track's going to do. This is what we need to do to the car to react to that. As we see Sanchez and Ryan Sieg close off a turn 2. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, Sieg packed a bunch of air on Nick Sanchez right there on the exit of 2. Got him loose. You see he's going to slide him down here, turns 3 and 4.
Hey, Sanchez from the back, inside the top 15. Good day for them. As good a day as they've had this year, with the exception of that third-place run at Atlanta. Love is fading outside the top 10 for our reigning champ. If he can't get back to the top 10, this would be his first finish outside the top 10 this year, and he's got company.
Anthony Alfredo is just, I mean, Mikey Motorsports in general has been awesome today. Alfredo put pressure on the defending champ. Going to be able to slide by him right there. Jesse Love got into the fence just a little bit. That's a classic case like we talked about in the free race. You got to race the racetrack. You know, Alfredo's going to lie and work on it. You just can't prepare any harder than you already are because you're on the verge of wrecking every lap here. And one of the tools you have in that car is to possibly adjust brake bias because at this point you'll be using more brake inside the race car. And it's not just for slowing the car down and changing its handling as you see Jesse get loose there when we were on board in 3 and 4. It's also about where you're placing the heat in the tires. If you dial some rear brake bias to take some heat out of the front tires or put it forward and heat up the fronts a little bit more. All those factors are some of just the limited tools. I'm not saying this would have a large effect, but it's the limited tools that a driver has at their disposal when you're starting to struggle late in the run here. You know, guys, one of the things that I saw when Larson was trying to get by Allgaier was the line that he was running. He was obviously entering really high into turn 1, and then it tried to turn down underneath him where he completed the pass in turn 2. But in turns 3 and 4, all day long, we've watched the 88 run right against the fence, enter really high and ride down all the way around and carrying a lot of momentum. See if he does it again right here. This last few laps, he's consistent with entering high and then right in the middle of the corner, turning down, driving off the wall, driving off a little straighter. And I got to wonder if he learned something when he passed the 7 that just felt better. But the 7 has been at times, so his last few laps, a bit faster than Kyle Larson, that 8 here.
Caution is out. Couple cars spinning off turn 2, one of which Austin Hill, who will slam the inside wall down the back straightaway. Another car further back, also spinning against the wall with a couple others. The 91 involved in the incident, Alex LeBay. Quite a bit of nose damage for Hill. Kyle Sieg was spinning up across the top of the racetrack, and I think he might have had contact with Taylor Gray in the 54. 25 laps to go. Our first caution for incident today at lap 123 of 147. It looked like there was potentially a 4th car that was spinning sideways with LeBay after the accident. And it was 45 of LeVar Scott who was spinning with LeBay. And I believe that crash happened just trying to miss the smoke and miss the 2 cars of Kyle Sieg and Austin Hill spinning in front of him. Replay of the incident. Dean Thompson was battling with the 26, so it was not the 54 of Taylor Gray, who barely gets by the incident. So Thompson was battling with Sieg, clipped him in the left rear corner panel off the exit of turn 2. Sieg spins into the wall across the outside of the track. Trying to miss the incident down to the bottom was Hill, and that's when he locked up and slid the race car. And same further back for LeVar Scott and Alex LeBay. There's definitely some contact. Tight quarters racing all the way around the track. Maybe a little bit of right front fender damage for Thompson in the Greg Biffle throwback scheme, that number 26 car today. Might be a repeat no diecast show. And yeah, unfortunately, I'm not at home this weekend for the live commentary streams here for the 2nd week in a row, so I do not have the diecast on me. Trust me, when we do get back, we'll be doing 2 during a race for these first couple of weeks. I'll be back home for these live commentary streams. Quite a bit of debris spread across the back straightaway. LeBay out of his race car. His day will be done. I don't know if Austin Hill's going to be able to continue. Kyle Sieg on pit road, making repairs to his race car. Same for the 21 crew on Hill, who has had an abysmal day today. All started when he had a flat tire late in stage 1 and fell a couple laps down. He was still a lap down at the time of this incident. And we're going to set ourselves up for a late race restart. There will be pit stops. These teams do have an extra set of tires laying on pit road. Should have 2 sets of them. So in the event of another caution after this one, they should still have tires left to pit with even later in the race. But this restart isn't going to come until we get less than 20 laps to go, so we're already pretty late. But knowing how much the tires wear out at Darlington, it's going to be very interesting. Our only caution for incident today came with about 25 laps to go in the race. It's clean and green all day until then. Pit road is still closed for now, as they got Alex LeBay's car under wrecker looking to bring it back into the garage. So once that car gets cleared out of the pit lane, pit road will then be open. So hopefully the following time by, if not this time by, it'll be the next lap, which would be 21 going on 20 to go. Yes, late race sprint. That 7 team of Justin Allgaier had a great restart the last go around, and it was actually a race won off pit road by Brandon Jones in the 20 team. Jones was third at the end of stage 2, so he went from third to first. He is in 4th place now, so the odds of him getting back to the lead on another pit stop going to be even harder, being an extra spot back. But if they did it once before, they can do it again. 19 team. Christopher Bell has had a couple of slow stops today. Larson obviously lost the lead even with an advantage. A 15-second stop, not good on their last 4-tire change. Justin Allgaier ran his fastest lap of the day at lap 100 when he had that clean air advantage. He got to the lead on the restart. It was a lap time of a 30.746, but it was still slower than Larson's lap, who has the fastest lap time of the day for the Xfinity bonus point award, 30.568. Xfinity, not the title sponsor of the O'Reilly Series anymore, but they still sponsor the fastest lap in the NASCAR Cup Series. Well, across all 3 of the top series, I should say. So you still hear the word Xfinity on the broadcasts at various points. Lap time of a 30.568 for Larson, the fastest of the race today on lap 2. Don't count quiet Christopher Bell out of it by any means. He hasn't led yet today, but back up inside the top 3. Triple duty this weekend, more laps on the track than any other driver. And at a track like Darlington, it can't hurt no matter the difference between Truck O'Reilly and Cup Series racing from series to series. Pit road was not open that last time by. Hopefully this time, as the leaders will work their way off the exit of turn 2 as I speak. Yeah, a couple of incidents on pit road with spins in the first 2 stops. First for Jesse Love at the end of stage 1. End of stage 2 pit stops, it was the 9 of Ross Chastain who went around. Jesse Love rallied to get back in the top 10, fell behind on the early going of stage 3. He's currently in the 11th place position when the caution came out. Ross Chastain a little further back yet. And we've got pit stops.
Yeah, Allgaier first pit box there. 3 at pit road. 3 there, but he's 2 just missed the 19 for the short ride, man.
Chevrolet of Kyle Larson, he's still happy. Said, I'm pretty good, just driving pretty easy. Balance is good, could stand to be barely tighter. So just a small adjustment on that Chevrolet with tires and fuel for Larson.
13.1 second stop for Justin Allgaier. Brandon Jones on the 20 has already gotten out ahead of him with an even quicker stop. Kyle Larson is not going to beat either of them out of the pits. Larson falls all the way to 4th by the time he exits pit road. Make that 5th. I had the wrong HendrickCars.com Chevy. It was Corey Day in 4th. Kyle Larson in 5th. 4 positions lost from the lead. Is he going to have enough time to get it back with less than 20 to go? Unbelievable. The 88 team has fumbled 2 pit stops today, and this one far worse than the last one where he only lost 1 position and was able to race his way back to the lead. Losing 4 positions on pit road, he's going to be in 5th. So Brandon Jones, Justin Allgaier We're the first two out of the pits. Now we're going to have to see with the choose rule who exactly is going to win the race off of pit road. Just goes to show it's never over till it's over. Even when Larson dominates the day, loses the race off pit road with about 20 laps to go, and now it's going to have to fight, scratch, and claw like crazy to get back up there. And he's going to have a good restart, which we don't even know what lane he's going to be restarting in right now. You gotta hope whoever's outside of row 1's going to have a great launch. Now, Justin Allgaier did win the last restart on the outside of row 1, despite not being the control car. And the guy who was the control car was Brandon Jones, who won the race off pit road. So shout out to that 20 team for winning the race out of 2 pit stops today, keeping Brandon Jones in the race after running 3rd or 4th for most of the day. Crazy, crazy stuff. All right. So setting up for a late race restart here at Darlington. Just over an hour and a half in, 3 cautions are first for incident. This one right here, late in stage 3. 4 lead changes on the day now, with Brandon Jones winning the race off of pit road again. 22 laps spent under caution. Again, the other 2 yellows would have been the stage ends at lap 45 and lap 90. This caution transpiring at lap 122 with 25 laps to go. And even less than that, obviously, when we get back going racing again. Larson wants it to go green like this time by, so he has more laps to try to maximize his opportunity of getting back to the lead. He's got the ability inside the race car with the driver that he is. He's had a fast car today as well. Better than anybody else on track all day, by far. But 5 positions is tough. And especially just not knowing what lane he's going to restart it. Like, he might be in 5th, but that doesn't necessarily designate that he's going to be, say, inside of row 2. He might, or inside of row 3. He might be either inside of row 4 or outside of row 2. And I don't know what he takes. I feel like you have to be outside of row 2 if Corey Day takes the bottom of the 3rd row. Just to restart up there, and you're hoping Allgaier has as good of a restart. I would assume Allgaier takes the outside of row 1 again. It worked for him once. I don't see why he doesn't try it again. And if he does fire off with a better restart, that could be the pathway for Larson to get back into 2nd. But he needs that 7 car to have as good of a restart as he did before, and he's got to stay tight and follow him and also launch out of that outside lane well, which we haven't seen many drivers do all weekend. Larson has also not restarted in the outside lane at all yet today, so there hasn't been that practice of it. He was on the inside of row 1 for the first 2 restarts. The last one, he was inside of row 2. Dusk skies in the Darlington, South Carolina area. As we approach the end of today's race, the Sports Clips Help a Hero 200. We're going to take our final break while we're awaiting the final restart. You're listening live on KRC to full flag-to-flag coverage of this afternoon's race. What a finish it looks like we're going to have in store here. They have not gotten the 1-to-go signal yet either. So it looks like we're going to restart with at least 16 laps to go. Not to mention, we don't even know that this is going to be the final restart. And if it isn't, is that going to create even less time for Larson to get up there? Like, is he going to need all the green flag laps? Yeah, crazy that MLB regular season already right around the corner. It almost doesn't even feel like they've had spring training yet. It's been that quick. We're at 17 to go now, actually, so it looks like it's going to be at least 15 laps to go in the restart. Got a lap ahead of myself. Or behind, I should say. They should be getting one to go this time by. So 10 laps will be spent in total under caution. The longer they sit under yellow, I feel like the more the want of the drivers to try to win these races goes up. And they become more desperate on a late race restart situation and following that. No surprise, Jones takes the inside of row 1. Allgaier does take the outside. Wow, okay. So Larson did not take the inside of row 3. He took the outside of row 3. Horry Day took the outside lane of row 2. And Larson followed. Outside of row 3 is going to be very difficult for that 88 car to win. The good news is he's got the laps to be able to do it. We'll see how it's going to work out for him. So 15-lap shootout for the checkered flag. We had 2 overtimes in the truck race last night, so this is by no means guaranteed as the final restart. But this race, far more calm than the truck race last night, where we had 7 yellows. We've had 3, only 1 for incident today. Allgaier outside of row 1 trying to take control of the restart again, but it's Jones who is the controlled car on the inside. Packed crowd in the front stretch at Darlington Raceway awaiting the epic finish to this afternoon's event. Green flag in the air. Jones gets a much better launch on the restart this time. Allgaier trying to hang on the right rear corner panel. A good restart of his own, and as they enter turns 1 and 2, they're nose to nose. Larson clear for 5th as a couple cars get backed up around 6th place behind him. Jones cannot keep pace with Allgaier again, and Allgaier is clear out of turn 4 with the lead, or turn 2, sorry, with the lead. Horry Day to the inside of Christopher Bell, quickly trying to go for the 3rd place position. But trying that move a little bit too early, now has Kyle Larson slipping by him on the outside with more momentum. And Larson gets one of his 3 positions back. Should say 1 down, 3 to go. 14 laps left. Allgaier leads Jones. Bell was able to get by Jones after a handful of laps, but the longer it takes for him to make the pass on the 19 car, the less likely he's going to be to try to run down the 7. 13 laps to go at the line for Justin Allgaier.
This just
Well, I'm just going to reference at this point in the race, 13 to go, newer times. Been focused on taking care of those tires, treating them nicely, and then suddenly your attachment go as hard as you can. Don't worry about it. They'll last 13 laps. Track position matters more than how you treat the tires in this moment.
Once again, Allgaier, fastest lap, got the clean air up front. You mentioned it, nobody's holding back right now. Everybody giving it all they've got. We talked about the crew chiefs. Have they made the right adjustments? Sure does look to me like the 7 has made the right decisions. With such a minimal amount of time left, 12 laps, we're going to have some fall off, but nothing like we've seen earlier in the race.
What about Andrew Overstreet?
He's just overseeing it.
But I just think about everything that he's been through and the struggles that he faced last year. Even though he got Carson Walker with the championship 4, there were a lot of adversities for that team. You make the change in the offseason. He replaces Jim Pullman, who goes to the Cup level as Justin Allgaier crew chief, and they have been outstanding from day 1.
And you think back that he gets that win with Connor Zilic. Connor Zilic's first win. Andrew Overstreet, the guy in the back there, the 3rd guy in row, there on top of the 7th pit box, the left side of your screen. He then goes and does that year with Carson Quapple, where he was under immense pressure for having to try and get Carson to victory lane. They make the chip 4, which maybe made up for not getting in victory lane. but then Justin Allgaier's team handpicked him as the guy they wanted to lead this race team this year, and you can see why.
Well, I think it also makes a major statement about the leadership qualities of Justin Allgaier. And look at this. Love trying to come from behind. He was 13th, but knocking on the door of the top 10, trying to get a two. Racing Alfredo and Ryan Sieg.
God, he way overtook the entry into turn 3 and is going to pay the penalty. But the draft's going to help him down the French stretch as Alfredo and all those guys are lined up. Leave Sieg on his own on the inside.
13 to 11. Saw Chastain in that mix. Had the issues at the end of stage 2 on the pit lane. He's trying for a comeback.
Oh.
It's out. That's Chastain right there. Doing Chastain things. Not afraid. Slide to the inside of Sieg. Now pick up the track. Place with 8 to go.
Well, I'd say Chastain better hope that he can get away right now because I don't think Sieg is with him at all. And if he can get back to him, I think he's going to let him know. But see Sanchez kind of fill it. Oh boy, there they go. See if there's any retaliation right here. Ross being super aggressive at the end. We've heard Sieg talk about how frustrated he is with some of the non-regulars, the Cup guys coming down. Oh, he just caught that rear bumper right there.
Allgaier doesn't want to caution his teammate might be a part of one here.
Yeah, and Sieg showed his displeasure the way he squeezed him down into 3 after that hit.
Chastain settles out 13th.
Sanchez working the bottom right there. You see how loose the car gets, so it's here. Seeing contact by multiple cars. You see those guys giving each other plenty of room, side drafting each other. Taylor Gray's going to give the 39 a little push down the back.
This has been a stellar day for AM Racing and Nick Sanchez. I mean, taking nothing away from their 3rd place finish at Atlanta earlier this year, but this is a tough track. A team that doesn't have every resource, but they've come to play, been very impressive. And just as I say that, Taylor Gray saving his best for last. They have struggled, got some damage in that last incident, but he's 15th now.
And for Nick Sanchez right there, that was kind of a product of he was driving so deep into the corners, trying to clear Sieg. They were stuck side by side. He paid the price on the exit of 4 that one time as he drove it so deeply in there and ended up losing 2 positions.
5 laps to go. You know, Carson Kvapil has been magic when he's driving the 1. He's around a lot this year, 4th consecutive week. He's been in a different car. But the last time he drove the 1, outstanding at Phoenix with a top 5, delivering again today right behind Larson.
From a slower pit stop a little bit earlier in the race, but he's done an exceptional job. That car in front of him has led the majority of this race.
He's going to have a nice little run on him right here.
Yeah, right now he's better than Kyle Larson.
6 laps to go in this race. Larson not able to keep up, and you wonder, being in traffic behind the leaders for the first time today, for the most part, outside of when he was in second behind Allgaier, if that is maybe affecting the handling of his race car, and he's not able to make the time up, especially with everybody running on the wall in front of him. He's not able to run that traditional Larson line. Justin Allgaier leads, coming up on 5 laps to go, this time by Carson Kvapil trying to battle back in the 4th place car currently of Kyle Larson. Now actually 4 laps to go, excuse me. Got the hiccups late in the race. Justin Allgaier looking for the white flag. That's the one he wants to get to. That would signify that the final lap means the checkered is going to follow, whether it's a yellow or green flag finish. Allgaier already lapping cars at the very back of the field as he gets into turns 3 and 4. He's got about a 9/10 of a second advantage over Brandon Jones after beating him on the outside lane on both restarts so far today. Not something we have seen at Darlington often, especially this weekend. But Allgaier did it not just once, but twice to the same driver, Brandon Jones. Jones was able to at least hold on for second on this restart. He was under pressure from Bell after those first couple laps, but he has since pulled away from him. Has just not been able to reel in the leader in front of him. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for Justin Allgaier. Final lap of the race, as he looks to steal a race win here at Darlington. This will be the 2nd win of the season for Allgaier in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. And it would be his 4th career win at this track. Through 3 and 4, checkered flag is waving on the other side. Second win of the 2026 NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series season for Justin Allgaier in the 4th of his career in this series at Darlington. 0.8 of a second margin of victory over Brandon Jones in second, Christopher Bell third, Kyle Larson holds on for fourth, and fifth, Carson Kvapil at the line. 6th place finish for Corey Day, Sheldon Creed 7th, Parker Retzlaff 8th, Sammy Smith 9th, Sam Mayer rounds out the top 10. 11th for Jesse Love, Anthony Alfredo in 12th, Ryan Sieg 13th, Ross Chastain 14th, 15th, Taylor Gray, Nick Sanchez 16th, William Sawaldt 17th, Brendan Poole 18th, Jeremy Clements 19th, and Josh Bilicki in 20th. Dean Thompson 21st, Harrison Burt 22nd, Raja Karut 23rd, Josh Williams 24th, and 25th, J.J. Yaley. 26th, Jeb Burton, Garrett Smithley 27th, last car on the lead lap. And 28th was Austin Green, Patrick Starpoli 29th, Blaine Perkins in 30th, Joey Gase 31st, Ryan Ellis 32nd, Myatt Snyder 33rd, Nathan Bird 34th, Austin Hill 35th. 3 DNFs in the race, all in that one crash that we saw back with 25 laps to go. Hill involved in that incident as well, but finished 5 laps down. As for LeVar Scott, Kyle Sieg, Alex LeVay, they DNF'd. 36th, 37th, and 38th place finishes for them. Justin Allgaier was the only other driver to lead green flag laps today other than Kyle Larson. He led 31 of them. He gets the win, all of which in the final stage. Larson led for 107 of 147 laps. Does not get the win, losing multiple spots on that final pit stop. 9 laps led all under caution for Brandon Jones. Were the only 3 drivers to lead. 147 laps, 200 miles scheduled distance for today's race ends in 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 9 seconds. 5 lead changes, 3 cautions. Of course, 1 for incident in the final stage. The 2 stage breaks and 25 laps spent under yellow are race statistics. Second win in 3 weeks for Allgaier's first win at Phoenix 2 weeks ago. A track he's had a lot of success at as well in this series, and does it again here. And it looks like they are going to be going to commercial right now, so we'll get an interview with our race winner, Justin Allgaier, on the other side of the break in victory lane. So we'll be capturing the checkered flag on the front stretch, coming out of the roof hatch, as we've seen a lot of the junior motorsport drivers do over the last year or so now. Connor Zilic kind of started that trend, and now every junior motorsports driver that wins basically climbs out of that roof hatch. Or at least of the regulars in the O'Reilly series. I know what's up. At least Kyle Larson didn't do that last week. Got out the old-fashioned way through the window net. So Allgaier capturing the checkered flag. He'll be driving back to victory lane. You'll get an interview with him, and then we'll get out of here for the day. Quick reminder, tomorrow's live commentary stream begins at 2:30 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race coverage for the NASCAR Cup Series Goodyear 400 at Darlington. Again, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live tomorrow afternoon. Thanks to all of you that tuned in for this one. Be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't yet for more NASCAR content. We're going to take a quick break of our own here. Allgaier celebrating with his crew on the front stretch. It might be a minute before we get that interview. Now he's running, I believe, to see his kid. On the pit wall, it is a very extended celebration for Justin Allgaier here today. We did get to our like goal. Thank you so much for that. If you haven't hit the like button yet, be sure to do so. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We're on the road to 8,000 subs on the channel. Just hit 7K a couple weeks ago. 50 likes was our goal for today's stream. We do have 63 at the moment. We might get somebody to interview Allgaier on the front stretch. How long this is taking, potentially. He's got both of his kids in the car getting a ride back to victory lane. How about that? Awesome. We're seeing it all in the side-by-side replay. It's kind of strange. Some weeks they do the interviews from victory lane, and some weeks they've been doing them on the front stretch. So I don't know what dictates when they do it where. But we're getting a victory lane interview today, so that is why we have not had one yet with our race winner. Yep, see you tomorrow, everybody. Appreciate those that are staying tuned in, waiting for the stream to go off the air. Want to make sure you hear from your winner first. This would have been the cup race. I would have somewhere to be immediately after, but it's not, so we're good. I've got all the time. Showing a replay of the final restart with the 7. Jones did a little bit better of a job launching, but Allgaier with that quick side draft at the end of the front stretch and just stayed committed to that outer lane. If you can stay to the outside of that car to the bottom, you have a good shot to get that run off turn 2 and complete the passes Allgaier did on both restarts, but nobody was able to really keep up with the inside lane car until Allgaier restarted on the front row each of those last 2 restarts in the outside lane. I will also say that it was Brandon Jones on the inside of row 1 of both of those restarts. Had it been Kyle Larson, it might have been a different story, but we'll never know how that was going to end up happening. NASCAR official looking around the race car for Allgaier before making his way back to pit road. Amidst the burnout, the left front tire's flat on the 7 car as he pulls into victory lane in the infield of the Darlington Raceway. Well, victory lane now for Justin Allgaier, and here he is as he'll exit his car shortly.
He puts his name with Denny Jeffman. That's what say two consecutive top 10s today. No one's ever done that here. He and Mark Martin were coming in with 9 straight top 10s. Today he gets his 10th, and he does it with an exclamation point. His 4 wins have come in the last 10 races here, which is remarkable.
The best part of all that is that he's a great person.
Yes.
Like, just a great guy to be around, likable. Love this moment right here with the kids on top of the car. It's awesome.
You know, we saw it Sunday in Las Vegas. Penny celebrating with his girls.
Right, same thing.
Makes me nervous.
Oh, yeah. Little girl Molly fell. They caught her. I'm like, oh my God, be careful. That's right there.
Here's Dylan Welch.
Whole family is here with Justin Allgaier. Congrats, Justin. Made it to Mobile One victory lane. How were you guys able to chip away at this all day and ultimately be there at the end when it mattered the most?
All these guys right here. We have not been the best on pit road all year. These guys have never quit. They have gone to work. They've never given up, and they were on top of it all day on pit road. Huge thank you to these guys. Andrew Overstreet, this whole 7 team, to get brand fresh ride culture back in victory lane again this year at Darlington, of all places. We definitely weren't the best all day. You know, Kyle obviously was amazing and has covered. You know, he just told me on that last career start, he said, never give up. If we can get the lead, we got clean air, we're going to win this thing. And we did. I cannot say thank you enough to everybody, all of our partners, Chevrolet, the Hendrick Engine Shop, Hendrick Chassis Shop, Carolina Carports, Toughco, Jared, Hellman's, HendrickCars.com, just everybody that's a part of this group, Roto-Rooter. We have so many great partners at Junior Motorsports, and I don't know where we all finished, but we were up front all day, and that's all you can really ask for.
We talked all race here about how you manage the tires, manage the race, and then you get a final restart where you can just kind of go like gangbusters, and you have to hold off the guys behind you. What's that like? What's that pressure or just kind of that rhythm like of trying to click off these fast laps at the end?
I didn't do a very good job of it all day, if I'm being honest with you. Probably one of the worst days personally I've had here at Darlington, and I just did a bad job. I kept plugging the fence. You know, I don't know. I didn't do a good job of it. And at the end there, I was worried. I mean, Brandon obviously had a really fast car. And, you know, I was worried that the 19 and the 88 were going to get through the traffic there. But again, this one right here is for everybody that's standing behind there. Rick Brandt's here. My wife and kids are here, which is awesome. They were in Phoenix. Andrew's got his wife and kids here. Like, just nobody will ever really know the later you get into your career how much these wins mean, and to come to Darlington, a place that I've loved for so long, that it's been pretty special.
They were good enough today, no doubt about that. Justin Allgaier, his 4th career Darlington win.
Awesome. Congrats to Justin Allgaier getting his 2nd win of the season already. First 6 races of the year. Dethroning Kyle Larson, who was able to dominate for most of the day prior to Allgaier taking the late lead. Thanks again for everybody tuning in. I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon, again, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. I will be back. NASCAR Cup Series Goodyear 400 coverage coming your way from Darlington Raceway again. Hope to see you for that one. Thanks for tuning in all weekend long thus far. And we got one more to go yet tomorrow. Have a good rest of your Saturday night, everybody.